Here in Houston, deep in the heart of Texas, the most justifiably proud of all 50 states in the Union, it's all too easy to forget that we work for a global corporation. As local content manager, Ileana Ferber is uniquely qualified to speak about the power of influence on a global scale. To tell us all about what that means, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Ileana Ferber to the stage for her EM talk, EMbassador.
I want you all to take a look at this slide. For some, you might think, wow, this really looks very poor. This is in my hometown, Caracas, Venezuela, where I'm from. And believe it or not, this picture has been my inspiration all this time, since I was little. And every time I see images like this, not only in Venezuela, but everywhere I get to go in this job, I think that I've been so lucky for what I have. I have food. I have all these things that have given me the opportunity to strive and to try to get better. It's really having the opportunity to have access to education, having a career, a nice job, and being able to provide that also to my children. But then every time I see that picture, I think, isn't it ironic that sometimes the countries, the poorest countries, are actually the richest in oil, in natural resources? Venezuela, again. It's the largest country. It's a country with the largest oil reserves in the world. But it's the poorest country right now. So this is what I wake up every morning thinking, how can I change this? How can I advocate for governments like this everywhere where I go to represent the company? How can I make an impact to these people, to these governments? I'm sure you know where it is. This is the United Nations. Ever since I remember, since I started learning languages at school, I always said, one day I'll be there. And I'll be there. Maybe after I retire from here. But I'll be there, and I will do great things there. But I'm doing great things right now. And this is a nonprofit sector. But you still get a lot of help from, for all the other countries. But I want to be that person that could change the fate of all these countries that had a picture like that, have extreme poverty. But here I am, in the very for-profit world, in ExxonMobil. And every time since I started this role, I've been able to do that bit of contribution that I always dream about, to end poverty, and that sounds like a very ambitious goal just for one person or one company or even one organization, but that's only one person. But if all of you do your bit of contribution, you can do great things together with me, on your own. But just think about the power that we can have if we do that together. So, I'm the local content ambassador. That's how I call myself, because that's what I get to do. I'm ExxonMobil's ambassador. I go representing ExxonMobil across the world, and I'm not only advocating for what we are doing in local content for every country that we go, but I also want to be heard and leave that bit of contributions to all the people, all the government officials that I talk, the people, the communities, of what we can do and why it's so important for us to do all of this. So I get to influence governments, the industry, the other operators. I get to also influence the people that we talk, the suppliers, the workforce. They're here us talking about what we do, what are the plans that we have everywhere we go. And you must be asking yourself, well, but what's local content? I know some of you might know what it is, but I want to explain to you in very simple words how I explain to my kids. What I do is I'll go and make sure that every country where we are going to have a footprint, or that we're already there, then we make sure to develop the people, so the workforce, the suppliers, the market, and then the community. To do what? To improve their conditions, to improve their skills, their capacity, and all this, I know eventually will translate into economic development. So think about local content equals economic development. And I get that. Every time I go, this is kind of my little bag of local content. So that's what I want everybody to understand. Now let me get real with this. And this is what I get to do in my mission trips, that's how I call it. But also from my embassy in Wellness One on the 5th floor. My little cubicle is my little embassy. So Guyana was my first mission. And it was actually the first mission that I have in this role. I probably had like 3 months in that job, and someone in Guyana told me, well, the Minister Trotman, the Minister of Natural Resources, we need to address his expectations. He has a lot of concerns, how we're addressing that, so we prepared this presentation and everything. So I got there and I had to actually sit in front of him and tell him what we do, really in our ExxonMobil way, and that fancy slides and everything. And when I was in front of him, I was looking that he was so concerned. He said, well, I have all these people knocking on my door, leaving these resumes, all the suppliers leaving their brochures. I'm bombarded by email, by business cards and everything. And because they all said, ExxonMobil is here, and where are the jobs? When are they going to hire me? We just finished doing the exploration drilling of Lisa 1. So imagine that it's a long way to go. But anyway, for some reason I understood that he was really desperate to address, and he cannot do it alone. And so we need to do something together. So I said, well, Mr. Trotman, I kind of in some way took on my ExxonMobil hat and spoke like myself, Ileana, and I'm so passionate with this that, I have my own style. I call it the Venezuelan style. But I did it. And they said, well, there are a lot of things that we can do, but we need to do it together. And one thing that it was, well, if you had a lot of suppliers, we can create a portal where all the suppliers can go and register, sign up, and then we can get all this information there. So by the time we are ready to do contracts, we're going to get in that portal and get the information. But at least they know that someone is receiving that information. So it's important. Same with resumes. We need to explain the population of Guyana and other countries. How does this ExxonMobil oil and gas project work? Because they think that ExxonMobil is there and they're going to get, the shower of jobs and everything. That doesn't work like this. But if you don't explain it, if you don't educate the population on that, they're going to have a lot of expectations. So we also talked that we can have this center where suppliers can learn. It's kind of like a school for suppliers. We had social media. So in other ways, we presented the plan. The first thing he said, okay, when can we get that done? And then I said, what's going to But anyway, we said we can do this. And together with the Guyana team, in less than a year, Mrs. Trotman was present at the opening of the center. And the rest is history. The Guyana team has done a great job. But yeah, we manage the expectation. We address their expectations, and we know what to do. The cool thing of all this is that we gain reputation, we got this credibility with the government, and now the good thing is that they're writing the first local content policy, and that's what I get to read as a hobby, as a fun. I'm a little weird. Everybody has their weird part. My weird thing is I love reading policies and regulations and all that stuff. So now we get the opportunity to read policies when they're being drafted, and they call, ExxonMobil can read it, can you provide advice? So we're getting that. I get to review those policies because they are released. And we get to, influence that part. And that's so important. Here's other examples. Another mission trip. Last year, I went to get to Ghana, and it's Ghana, because people tend to say Guyana, Ghana. This is Ghana in West Africa. And they have one of the most, say it nicely, prescriptive local content regulations. They even named it LI 2204. So And that regulation actually presents so many challenges to us as the operator and also to those local suppliers. And really, the government is so proud of that LI 2204, that kit, that you cannot go there and criticize their baby because that's someone's baby. But I found a way to let them know that in some way, this LI 2204 is not going to help the country. It's not going to accelerate economic development. And it's not going to help us as operators to actually develop the workforce, develop the suppliers, and all the things that we all have a plan. So I spoke it again at this event that I was invited, and I sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, kind of forget that I'm wearing ExxonMobil hat, but I'm always being very respectful and being myself. So probably that has been that I'm being me. And I get to show the passion that I have and while doing this. And then I build trust. I build a strong relationship with the governments. And then at the end, I get direct messages from them. Ileana, how can you help us? And they're not calling Miss Ferber. They say, Ileana, how can you help us? What do you think about this? So that has been so rewarding to me that I get to influence, that I get to provide them advice. And very humbly, I'll do that. This is the delegation that came few months ago from Mauritania. This is another mission trip where I get to present to the minister. And he actually appointed after that meeting, Mr. Krumbala, you're going to work directly with Ileana. That's one of his closest advisors. And now we're working on every single idea that they have on local content. They said, I think, based on what you told us, I think it's too soon, too early for us to start developing a local content policy. I think we need to mature. And I explained the whole process, how countries mature and when it's a good timing to do all this legal framework around that. But again, it's building that relationship with the government that has been a little piece of success in all this. And again, I don't work alone. I have, like the people say, I have a village supporting me. But I get to kind of be in front of them, and I'm so lucky to have that opportunity. This is Mexico. And I think if I could see my eyes there, I'm sure there are lighting. Because this is an area that it's very dear to my heart. I work very closely to support the women economic empowerment. I think some of you know about it. There's this organization called We Connect International, and that's the organization that supports the work that we do, empowering all these women-owned business, that we want to invite them, that we want to tell them, you have an opportunity here in ExxonMobil. It's an oil and gas industry, and suppliers like them, they think, well, I do jewelry, or I do translations, or things that are probably not the common operations or engineering services. So they think that they don't have an opportunity here. And I get to tell them, yes, you do. So I get to present a lot of these forums, and I advertise a lot what the job that we're doing as a company. And in one of those forums, I actually told them the question, one of them asked, what do we need to do to be an ExxonMobil supplier? How can we go beyond that barrier that there is? Because they're convinced that they have a barrier. And I told them, I can give you some tips. And I want you to really listen carefully, because if you do that, I think you're gonna go past that barrier and you're gonna do great. You're gonna be part of the industry. Again, supporting women-owned business is not giving them advantage, and I wanna be clear on that. It's giving them the empowerment so they know that they have the same opportunities as other companies. So sometimes they feel like, oh, I don't want to have a special treatment. No, you have to compete. But at least you're going to have the conviction, the passion, and that courage, and you will know that you can. This is Victoria, and I love her story, and we're now good friends. After I came down the podium after that panel, all of them actually wrote my tips, and I had to actually post it in LinkedIn because they were asking, oh, this is so good, this was so helpful. So I said, we need to share this with all these women-owned businesses around the world, not just the women in Mexico. So Victoria has a company of engineering services. She provides industrial equipment and services. She's an engineer. And then she said, Ileana, your message really resonated to me. you got me excited. I want to try. I want to do it. And then do you think you can be my mentor? I was like, yeah, I would love to. So I was coaching her, and really the coaching was not to, I'm going to tell you the secret how to get a contract in ExxonMobil. She was not even targeting ExxonMobil as a company, but she had a tender in mind that she was trying, and I really want to do great. So I give her a lot of advice, and then next 6 months or something, I don't remember, she called me, Ileana, guess what? I won the contract. I'm going to be providing to this company, and you know what? Now I'm enhancing my business, and I'm supporting now the renewable energy sector. And on top of that, I'm now going to be a supplier providing my services in Texas, so I have global capability. So now her WeConnect certification, which is international now, she's using it. So again, I felt like I had so much impact on her and the other women that I really want to continue doing this, and until I retire, and then I'll do it from United Nations, whatever I am, I'm going to keep doing this. So as you see, this is not the UN, but it's pretty damn good. So, and I get to do this every single day, and I enjoy what I do. I love this job. I have so much passion and I have the courage of conviction that I can do a lot for this company, for these countries. And remember the first picture, that's my inspiration. It's an ugly picture, but for me, that's my north, because it's my country. And so I see the other countries that they're also my country. So I leverage my role every day. I'm going to change the world, I'm going to advocate, and I'm going to make an impact. This picture is with Mr. Sergio Amaral, His Excellency, Ambassador, Brazilian Ambassador to the US. Next to him is Ileana Ferber, local content ambassador to the world. Thank you.